is me answering comments. Bailey and I signed up for it, said it would be June 8th. Okay, good. How do you sign up for it when I'm on the app? Well, I can't really go into that right now. There's ways to do it. If you can't figure it out, just call the office. We will be able to help you out up there. So. Abigail, Yield, Ritter White. Where am I able to find the test that I can practice? It's also on our website. It's that's a good one. I'll talk about that. Okay, Kayleen. Okay, I used to go to person. I used to go in person, so I didn't know I would need the workbook, but I've been taking notes on these papers. So yeah, there's just some workbook activities and stuff. So if you're going to be home and you know it, try to sign up for makeup, May and teeth. It's not there. Oh, well, I can't see if you've signed up or not. I was just looking at the folder that said you were absent. I can check, but I have to go in through the software program and stuff like that. So you probably did. I just know you haven't completed it yet. So it's on the 18th. Yeah, that's probably right. Okay, here is poll 2. Need everybody to say yes on this. If you don't see the poll, let me know right now. Poll is up. All right, guys, let's get those phones face down in front of you on the table. Send your last text. Play your last game of Clan Crash. Finish your Fortnite round. Steal another car in GTA 6. Score a touchdown in Madden. Okay, those are my games. Never mind. Those are the games I play. Okay. All right, so I want to talk to you a little bit here in the classroom, real quick about your drives. So on class 4, I saw Megan taught it. She should have told you that it's okay to sign up for drives now, right? So you just log into your student portal, pick a drive time that's good for you. The drives are, what we're gonna do in the drive is listed on the left side of your book. If you wanna see that, in that very, very top left square. That's where the content for that drive, and it's very, very easy. So if you're nervous, don't worry about it. In fact, I can, in the car that I take, I have the gas pedal and brake on the side and everything, and I can just drive that whole car from the passenger side. So when you're in a drive with me, I really don't even need you over there. I can just drive the whole thing. So it's really a great way to learn to be in a car. So it's different with us than your parents because we can control the whole thing. So sign up for your first drive. First drive starts out here, but then goes through like a residential neighborhood back by an elementary school. We work on like curbside parking. We left and right corners. So if you aren't taking turns very good, we kind of try to help you with that. We work on backing up for the first time too. So the drive 1 is very simple, very easy. So if you're nervous and that's why you're not signing up, don't worry about it. Just sign up. You'll laugh at it afterwards. But one thing about signing up for these drives is that eventually you'll be all done with class, and that's all you'll have. The class right before you guys was class 15. It was a class test, so I administered their big class test to them and everything. There was numerous people that still had many, many drives to do. Not a single one of them were even close to being done, which is what you're supposed to do. I would say a good timeline is maybe be done with about 2 drives while you're done with class, but that means signing up for one right away. Otherwise, you'll get there. It's going to be hard to get done with the class quickly. Like if you get done and you're like, oh, I have 4 drives left. Well, we make you do them 8 days apart, so it takes forever to get through them. So doing the drives soon, signing up for them now, good idea. If you just have to log into your student portal, hopefully they showed you how to do that. If you need some help logging into your student portal, I can show you. But you should have gotten an email right at the start when you first signed up for school, either you or your parents, and it shows that your login information in that email. Now I can resend the email with a click of a button. It'll resend that again, but I can't like change your password or anything like that. You might be able to on your end, but I can't on mine. Okay, let's see a couple comments. Kayleen says, I don't see it. Okay, Kayleen, I marked you down as not seeing it. And then who else didn't see it? Karen didn't see the poll. Okay. So 2 of you. And Luke, I'm laughing at the drives right now. Yeah, it is. The drives are funny, man. Okay, getting ready to stop the poll. I had 2 people say that they did not see the poll. So I'm going to end it right here. And unfortunately, it looks like a lot of you guys didn't do this. So I'm going to end the poll. Anybody that did not do the second poll is going to have to redo this class. So, all right, click and end on the poll. It's been up for about 5 minutes. Sorry to whoever has left the class. We have one more poll after we get done. So at the very, very end, we have one more poll. So stay tuned for that. All right. So we're going to take a look at some examples of different warning signs. These are 3 common types of intersection warning signs you can see. One of them is telling you that there's a crossroad. It's not telling you what the traffic controls are or which side has a stop sign, but you have to pay attention yourself when you get up there, but there's a cross street. So they might put that up on a place where you might not see that cross street real well. And then there could be a car there and you're going fast. They have a lot of these crossroad signs up on kind of like rural areas. You know, you're driving in between like Moses Lake and Quincy or something like that on this back farm road, and they'll have a crossroad sign and you look and there's that road crossing. Changes in the road or width of the lane can also be a warning sign. Here they're warning that a lane is being reduced, so lane reduction. Middle sign, they're showing you that the road gets narrow all of a sudden, and usually it's a bridge. You're going to go over something that it narrows up a little bit. And then there's the other sign that I talked about first, lane added. So they're adding a lane beside your lane. Generalized traffic signs, two-way traffic, meaning that you're going to have opposite way traffic. Like I talked about that girl in the Caribbean, she'd never done that before. That's opposite. They're going to have two-way traffic. Divided highways, so there's going to be, remember how these are read? These are read from bottom up. So as you're driving, there is about to be a divider in between the two lanes. And then 12'6", what's that telling you? Yeah, there's like a bridge or a building overhang or something like that that is limiting the height of the vehicles that should go on that road. You generally, if you're driving a car or pickup truck, you don't have to worry about that. But if you have any type of a vehicle that's taller, you do. And that could include like a work truck with some work racks on top, or a U-Haul box truck. It's not just necessarily semis. Find out how tall that truck is when you're going to get it, because there could be some areas that you have issues on. Crossing can be yellow too. A lot of times fluorescent yellow when there's pedestrian crossing. Deer crossing, farm machinery, all those are in yellow. Usually pedestrian crossing and farm machinery can be about one area. Deer crossing can be like miles. If you see a deer crossing sign, it could be for the next like 15 miles or something like that. It just means there's a lot of deer population right near that street, or that road. Farm machinery can cross at numerous areas too. When I used to live up in by the state park in Othello area, and there was farms all over the place. And yeah, I would drive down the highway going home, and I'd have a big combine in front of me, or people crossing the street, because they might have one half of their farm on this side of the street and then the other half over here, and they're just moving tractors back and forth. That's what that's showing. Conditions, steep hills, slippery when wet pavement ends, all those are yellow signs. And then of course curves are warning signs too. They're warning you here that there's curves that are maybe pretty sharp. Don't want you, maybe the speed limit's 50 and they don't want you to go through it at 50 miles an hour because it's going to be, kind of a sharp curve as you get down. Now this is the merge sign. So this is what, this is the sign where you have to actually blend in with traffic. So what merge means is blending of the traffic. So it's showing you that there's one lane that's coming into a second lane. Now the lane that has the right of way is the big arrow. The small little way in, they have to yield to the cars that are already on that. That shows that where the lane will continue and combine. Merge signs are typically seen at freeway entrances. That usually is the place. You got a ramp going up, and then that ramp ends at the top, and you have to merge in with the traffic that's there. Here's a good example of it right there, merge sign. This would be a terrible freeway to try to merge into too. That's because that's busy. Most of the time around here, it doesn't look like that. But yes, it's showing that the merge sign is there. So it's warning, and they put this at a spot where both the people that are merging in and the people that are already on the freeway can see it from both sides. So if you're driving down the freeway, you'd be like, oh, someone's going to merge in with me. And if you were going up the merge ramp, like, oh boy, I get to merge in with the traffic that's up there. So. And then this sign tells you in advance that there's a railroad crossing coming up. They have them, most of the railroad tracks. I would not expect them at all. I've been out to some railroad tracks out in Findlay where all of a sudden the damn track is just right there and there's no warning at all. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, but they call it the acceleration lane. And a lot of times the way that interchanges are shaped, there's usually like a steep corner, a curve right before you get on. So you can't really just blast it at that point because you've still got this curve there. So they mentioned the acceleration lane where you can try to get it up, and it usually is towards the end. Now, if it was just a merge ramp that was just a straight shot, yeah, go ahead. But most of them, a lot of them will say there's a curve like this, and they don't want you to go fast there. But then when it starts to straighten out, that's more like the acceleration lane. So there can be times where acceleration, you can't do it. It's too curvy at that point, interchanges. There's one part in this curriculum where it shows top views of interchanges and stuff, and it shows them coming in all different directions, and it's usually curves right before you do it. So yeah, gotta keep that. Now there's the crossbuck sign. That's usually right on the railroad track. This one here, the other one is usually like before you get there. So you'll see this first, and then that one will be like right on it. And it could be like red lights and stuff too. This is supposed to be shaped like a schoolhouse is what they say. It's a pedestrian crossing sign. This is the bright fluorescent yellow-green sign. So it's telling you that the crossing is coming up ahead and warning you of that. This sign is a pennant-shaped sign. And what this one says is no passing. And it's one of the few signs that can be on the opposite side of the road. So like most of the signs that refer to you are right over here on the right. As you're driving down the street, speed limit, yield, stop, they're all right there. No passing. This style, no pennant one, is going to be on the left. So it's going to be like as you start to pass, maybe you see that. So like you might not see the one over here because if you're getting ready to pass, you're more than likely looking at oncoming traffic and stuff. And then this is telling you it's a no passing zone, which is actually illegal with the shared turn lane here anyways, but people have been doing it apparently, so they're like, put up a no passing sign. But some signs are on the left, and you can be like a no passing sign because that's where you view it the best. Even though there's a do not pass on the opposite side. So what do these signs tell you right here? Deer to the left, or is it's point? Sharp turn to the left, right? So these are signs you need to watch out for, because if you see that, you're probably looking at something like this, where it is a sharp curve in the road. They don't make you stop or anything, but you need to, and sometimes they'll even put up a speed limit. They might say 15 miles an hour, like slow down, because that curve is a lot faster than you think it is going to be. So Chevron, so anytime you see those arrows, slow down because the road's a curve. Now, sometimes they'll have the road curve without those, like in residential areas and stuff. But usually on the higher speed roads, they'll have those Chevron arrows through it. And then this orange diamond shape is communicating construction and that it's a one-lane road. So if it typically was 2-lane, it's going into one up there, and it's telling you that. Further up, it probably shows the lane reduction sign where it shows which lane is reducing. But as soon as I see orange, I'm usually using caution because there's a lot of workers around those types of things, and they can be close to the road too. sometimes I'm surprised at how close they are to the road. Like you'll be driving right where this white car is and somebody will be like moving cones right beside it there. So it's crazy. Now this one we had a question about, this red and orange, or this red and orange triangle. This is the slow moving vehicle sign. If your vehicle can't do over 25 miles an hour, you are required to have that on there. So like if you're gonna try to move a combine or a tractor across the street or down the road or something like that, you need to have the slow moving vehicle sign. So like tractors, horse-drawn carriages, things like that, big time equipment, they're all gonna have those types on there. And if you see that, you can pass those vehicles. Usually they're going to be way off on the right side of the road anyway, encouraging you to pass them. And then sometimes there might be stripes at an angle, which is telling you right here, there might be like a hard object on the side of the road. So it's kind of like the arrows are saying go left of that or go right of that one. Kind of like the arrows are pointing here. You can tell they're saying, stay to this side, stay to the right or stay to the left, because of the, the real tight bridge that's right there. Practically almost goes into one lane. So that's real dangerous. If I lived near there, every time I go through that bridge, I'd be kind of nervous. I'd be scared, slowing down, waiting, making sure there's not some car flying around the other side of it. But sometimes they'll stripe things like that too. Now there are also signs that are variable signs, like they can change it. And this is one of them right here. They can change to put any basic information up there. Time it takes to get to an exit, or weather advisories or special events. It might say a concert up there or something. Safety messages. Some of those will shoot back your own speed. It'll like tell you how fast you're going. I actually used one of those. I had bought in a truck, a Ford F-150 truck a few years ago, and I realized my speedometer was off after going past one of those signs that shoot it to tell your speed. I was doing exactly the speed limit, and I looked, and it said I was doing 5 miles an hour less. And I was like, oh, that's why everybody's been passing me for the past 6 months. And you can see this sign is telling you how many miles it takes to get to the destination and how long they believe travel time would be. Now, sometimes they'll change travel time if it's super congested. Like it might be 15 minutes there to Byron in 17 miles, but if it's congested, they might say 30 minutes or something like that. There are also other types of variable message board signs like that. Some will include like an Amber Alert. You guys know what an Amber Alert is? What is it? Yeah, like a missing kid. They'll put an Amber Alert up. A lot of times if they know of any vehicle that the kid might have been in, they'll put that vehicle up there too to help everybody know. So if you see it says, oh yeah, it's a gray Honda Accord with a license plate, whatever, and start looking for that, because that obviously they're putting that there because they think that car could be on that road at some point. You guys know what a Silver Alert is? Yeah, old person. So a Silver Alert is like an old person wandering. My friend that I played numerous golf tournaments with over the years owns a big retirement home in Spokane. I went up there numerous times, and they have a whole dementia unit. So if people have dementia, where they're forgetting they can't remember anything or even who they are or whatever, they lock them down at night so they don't just start wandering. But that's what happens if somebody starts wandering like that with like partial dementia. You're like, where's Uncle Roger? I don't know. Last I saw, he was wandering that way. And then they're looking for him. They'll call the police. They'll put up a Silver Alert, and they might tell you what the guy was wearing. Tan slacks and a gray cardigan, or something like that. They might say if they're looking for the guy or whatever. A Blue Alert. You know what a Blue Alert is? Officer down. So a Blue Alert means that there has been an officer shooting, officer injured, somebody ran away from officers, something like that. So Blue Alert is their police are looking for that person. Well, same with the other ones, but Blue Alert means somebody was into it with an officer or something like that. So, and then really they can put on there whatever they want. For any state can put on whatever they want. Here you see a winter weather advisory sign. And then a lot of these variable message boards, like this one here, is a movable one. So they could take it wherever they want and set it up. The other one on the other picture, that's a stationary one. So that's where they just said, hey, we want this here, and that's where we want it. Here's the one that shoots your speed back out. You'll see one of these this one day, and you'll be like, is somebody lasering me or what? Even if you're like 1 mile an hour over the speed limit, it starts flashing at you red or something like that. So, and these are the guide signs. These are the interstate route numbering signs. Here's an interesting, and now these are in blue colored. We talked about this before. Here's interesting. Routes running east to west have even numbers. Routes running north to south have odd numbers. So if you think about the highways around here, Highway 395 runs north to south, odd number, right? Up here is 82 east, 82 west, even number running that. So if you're on an even number highway, it tends to run east to west. North to south is odd numbered highways, and they're going to have, and mostly north to south, or like overall, if you look at it. No, I'm not going to do that. Oh, I don't like doing the route number one. Oh yeah, we took it out anyway. Okay, so now, now you don't need to know and remember every single possible sign. Like I said, that's tough. I don't even know every sign. But if you focus on shapes, colors, word graphics, a lot of times you can understand those things. Somebody that was that colorblind wouldn't necessarily see the colors, but they maybe they use shapes more. Or read more. But all of those things can be there. Now, sometimes at a sign, you might need to ask yourself, like, do I need to take action? Well, sometimes there are signs you need to take action at, and sometimes there's not. Like no passing zone. That's not something you need to take action at unless you were trying to pass somebody, right? End construction. That's nothing you really need to do. It means it's just telling you, like, hey, construction's ending here. No texting, put it down as law. Would you have to do anything there? No, because nobody in here is going to be texting, right? It's just going to tell you that. Otherwise, you'd be like, ooh, I'm texting. It's against the law. Oh my gosh, I'm going to put my phone down. Everybody knows. But sometimes you have to take action at a sign. Sometimes they're just informational. But if you don't follow certain signs, sometimes the negative things happen. What sign do you think that these people missed in order to hit that guardrail up there? Did they miss a speed limit sign, or did they miss a do not enter sign, or what do you think they missed? Yes, the chevron signs, those sharp turn signs. So there was sharp turn signs up to here. Somebody didn't see them. All of a sudden they got surprised by this. Usually when you exit or enter a freeway, highway, etc., there are either a sharp curve or a stop sign almost immediately after exit. And this is one of them. And if you're going, 70 miles an hour on the freeway, and then you hit these exit ramps, a lot of times there are sharp curves on them. They'll tell you what speed you need to go, but sometimes people don't pay attention as much as they should. And I've seen a lot of cars crashed on the end of exit ramps and stuff like that because people are taking them way too fast. They're just used to going 70 and they take the ramp and they didn't miss the slow down sign because they were paying attention. And here comes this wall up there. And you can see that numerous people have hit it. I mean, that's about 4 different cars there. And then there's some over on the other sides and stuff too. I mean, a lot of cars have hit that. So numerous people missed that sign. Now this is very interesting. This is when you miss a bridge height sign. Now you're going to see this truck going through an area where it should not be going. Taryn, sharp turn, correct. Katrina has a question. You merged, you have to slow down to blend in. Mostly when you have to merge, you have to speed up to blend in. Because you're merging into, usually the merge ramp itself is a slower speed than the actual freeway that you're driving on. So mostly on merge ramps, you're gonna, because they're going really fast. And it's easiest to merge in to when you're doing the same speed as that. So missing child, yep, continue. If you're in an intersection, you're waiting on a red light, turn left and you're, okay, that's a good question, Katrina. I just don't have enough time to answer everything in here. I got to do the class. So, Katrina, should be that question when I can either answer it after class if you're still hanging around, or shoot at me a different time. What if we see two contradicting signs, like a sign that says one thing, and then next to it says the opposite or near it? I actually have seen that before when somebody forgets to do a sign. Anytime you're in an area you don't understand, use extra caution. That's okay. I can make all right. Like what happens if there's a power outage and there's no traffic signals? Then there's actually something for that. Every intersection is going to be like a four-way stop if there's a power outage. So sometimes signs can contradict each other too. I had a sign one time that really threw me off. There was a sign that said to go this way towards Biggs Junction. And I followed that sign all the way down towards Big Junction. And there was a sign that they had blacked out, and I didn't see it. And it was the bridge closed sign. And I didn't know that bridge was closed until I got clear down to the bridge. And I saw other bridge closed sign, and I was like, what? Bridge? I said, why didn't they let me know this? Like 5 miles back up. And so I drive all the way back up this road from the bridge, and I get all the way up to the top, and the whole time I'm looking for a sign, like, why didn't they tell us? And made us so drive all the way down there before getting to this bridge that was closed. And I saw a sign, and I saw the bag on it, and they had covered it but forgot to uncover the sign. So the question was, what if you get conflicting signs? And you can. I would just say if you saw any sign that's conflicting, use an abundance of caution. And if there's one that's telling you to be careful, that's exactly what I would do, is just be as careful as I could. But definitely couldn't happen. That's a good question, Evelyn. And if you do see two conflicting signs, it's an accident. I mean, it's like they put up and I've seen road construction signs there where they're done with the construction, and they've been done for 3 days, but those damn construction signs are still out there right next to the road. And you're like, come get your signs, you guys. Okay, so now we're about to watch the sign that he missed. And it just like scalps the top off of that truck. That's nuts, huh? So at 11'8", he was probably about 12 foot high, huh? It even shook the camera mount. Actually, this is my favorite part, because I watched this car come down, and he tries to like turn right, and then all of a sudden like, that's not gonna work. So did he miss any signs on the way there? Yeah. Yeah, and there might have been. I think he just missed those signs. They generally put those quite a ways up. In fact, the no truck sign was probably up where a long ways away, like telling everybody like no trucks down here or something like that. So you can see that he missed a ton of signs. If he would have seen that coming up to it, he would have probably tried to put on his brakes or something, because it just destroyed the whole back trailer of that truck. He missed 1, 2, 3, 4. He missed 5 signs coming into this area right here. So now, if you're a truck driver, and they're going to tell you when you're getting your CDL, which is your commercial driver's license, you need to know how tall your truck is. So I would do that if I were you guys. If you're ever going to rent like a U-Haul or going to drive a big box truck or something like that, find out the limit on certain things. Some of them are a little different. I actually got in trouble like this one time, and I'll tell you about this. I went up to Spokane for the Spokane Golf Show, for the golf course I was working at then. That's what I used to do before I started doing this. I ran golf courses for like the last 20 years. And I went up to Spokane in the work truck from the grounds crew. It had a roof rack on it for holding all kinds of stuff up there, but there was nothing on it. They just gave it to me to drive up to Spokane and back. And I go up to the Northtown Mall, and I go up the ramp into their parking garage. And there's this big thing that I'm going underneath, and I don't know what it is. It's just a thing that's going across. And I go right through, and I turn around the corner, no problem. And I get into the garage itself, and I see that my roof rack is coming like centimeters from the ceiling of this place. And I'm like, wow. And I start driving through, and it hits. It makes a squeak sound. And it hits again. It makes a squeak sound. And I got out of there as soon as I could, because I realized that truck was too tall for that garage. Now, it wasn't even a jacked up truck. It just had like a little roof rack on it. And I'd never driven a vehicle that was taller. So I was kind of surprised by that. When I went out of the mall and I got out, and I was like, oh, thank goodness I didn't run into like an air conditioning duct or something like that. Then I'd have been like, what am I going to do? But when I got out, they had this thing, and it went across the road, and it was this big foam, like it looked like a big foam roller up in the sky. And after I got out, I saw somebody putting it back up, and I realized that I'd knocked that down going in, because that was up. It was telling you to watch that, and I didn't even see that. So when I went through, I knocked this damn Nerf roller off of the thing, and by the time I struggled my way out of the thing, I rode past, I saw some dude putting it back up. Did I stop? No. But anytime you're going to drive something taller, pay attention to that, because you could get into some serious trouble. I got lucky that day that I didn't like take out a whole air conditioning unit or something like that. And but yes, you definitely need to know how tall your vehicle is. Okay. So we're on slide 65. All right. So some signs look very similar to other signs. So these two signs are different. The one on the left, what was that one? We talked about that. Lane reduction, right? They are removing a lane. So if you see that, you're going to have to merge. Remember, merge is the blending. So at that point, you're going to put your signal on, find a gap in traffic, try to get over. Unless you're in the left lane, then people are going to merge over. But you want to pay attention to that. Now, the right sign, we talked about this before. What's that sign? Adding a lane, right? So they're adding a lane. So which is going to be the difference between a merge sign. I thought they showed that here. There's a merge sign and the add lane sign. Those are typically hand in hand. Either you're going to have to merge or they're going to add a lane for you. So when I'm coming up the freeway ramp, I'm looking for that sign to tell me if I'm going to have to merge in with the traffic or if they're going to add a lane for me. If they add a lane, that's great. Then I don't really have to do, over the shoulder checks or anything. But if I have to merge, then I'm watching my speed. I'm trying to find a gap in traffic. I'm signaling. I'm over the shoulder checking, stuff like that. So it matters what you need to do based on what those signs are. Now, these are two different signs too, but they look really similar. What's the sign on the left? Yeah, like a slippery when wet type thing, right? So road is wet, like it might be an area with a lot of moss, might be an area with a lot of leaves on the ground where the trees are just losing leaves all the time, gets really slick. Might be like that. Might be ice, an icy road that tends to get frost in the morning. And then what about the one on the right? Is that saying slippery when wet too? What's it saying?
Windy
Roads are going to curve. So the signs look kind of close, but they mean totally different things. So slippery when wet and then road curving. These signs actually mean the very same thing. Crossbuck means that you're going to have to yield to railroad crossing, and then yield is just the yield sign. So those are actually like kind of the same message. So sometimes signs are the same message. And like this is the same message also. It's showing the lane reduction sign, and that means lane ends, you need to merge left. And then here the sign is just written all out. I've seen both of these signs. So sometimes you can look at the sign and see what it wants you to do with a picture. Sometimes you have to read the wording on the sign to understand. But those mean the exact same thing, those do. But if you don't fully know or understand or have the ability to understand signs, then you're going to create a lot of risk and tough driving when you're trying to distinguish the meaning of signs. And if you don't know what a sign means, then it can be really bad, like missing those arrows for the sharp turn and stuff like that. I'll tell you that a lot of drivers that don't go to traffic school go through the worst mistakes because they don't learn a lot of the things that you learn. You can really pass your knowledge test by answering just those questions and not knowing fully what to do. So sometimes some things. Short video on traffic signals. First, I'm gonna look at Luke says the 11-foot-8 sign. Yeah, no doubt. Missed that. Curvy road. That's right. That's what it said. The second one, adding lane, slippery curve road. Yep, that's right, Julian. Okay, here's a video on traffic signals.
Signs aren't the only traffic controls you'll see. Some of the most important information you get on the road is in the form of traffic signals. Traffic signals control the flow of traffic at intersections. A green light means that when traffic is cleared, you may proceed, if it is safe to do so. A red light tells you to stop and not enter the intersection. A yellow light means that your right-of-way is expiring, and you should clear the intersection when safe to do so. If a traffic signal turns yellow while you're approaching an intersection, stop before entering the intersection if you can do so safely. If you're already in the intersection when the signal turns yellow, continue through the intersection. But do not accelerate to get through an intersection before the signal turns from yellow to red. Other drivers may not see you in time to avoid a collision. Throughout the United States, you may turn right at a red traffic signal after you have come to a complete stop, unless prohibited by a sign or signal. As you turn right on red, watch out for pedestrians and cross traffic from the left. What about flashing signal lights? A flashing yellow light means that you need to slow down and proceed through the intersection with caution. Keep in mind that cross traffic may not stop. Always treat a flashing red light as a stop sign. Stop at the intersection and wait until there's an adequate break in traffic before entering the intersection. If the light is flashing red in all directions, treat it as an all-way stop sign. If two or more drivers arrive at the same time at an all-way stop, you must yield the right-of-way to the driver to your right. If the intersection has no signs or the traffic control signal is not working, treat it as an all-way stop, where all drivers approaching from any direction must stop before entering the intersection. A green arrow on the signal tells you that you have a protected turn and that opposing traffic has been signaled to not cross your path. If the green left turn arrow goes off and no red light or red arrow appears, you may still turn left, but you must first yield to opposing traffic. These general guidelines about traffic signals are always subject to local laws, so check your local laws for any variations. Always stay alert for signs and signal light. They can make the difference between being involved in a crash and avoiding one.
So now the traffic signals can be a little bit confusing too. It takes a little while to learn that, those kind of what the lights mean and dictate and stuff. So like your drive 4 is going to be multi-lane intersections. So we kind of go through it a lot then. So a couple things in this video I want to talk about. One of them is obviously what's a red light mean? Stop. Green light, go when clear. So just because that light snaps green doesn't mean you can just go. You really do need to clear the intersection, especially with your eyes. If you're that first car to go in that intersection, that light turns green, what are you supposed to do, Nate? What? If you're the first car to go through that intersection when that light turns green, what do you need to do?
Left, right, look.
Look left and right, because you have to clear that intersection with your eyes. A lot of times when your light turns green, somebody is still fighting to get through that intersection or running a red light. So you have to kind of expect that stuff. Now, my biggest fear when I was younger is, what do I do when that light turns yellow and red? You know, like as I'm driving. You guys probably been out practicing a little bit before. Have you kind of run into that yet, where a light will turn yellow, light will turn red? Yeah. Did you make it before the light turned red? Okay, good. So that was my biggest thing. Like when I was younger, it was like, how do I know when to stop? And you know, the light turns yellow and then turns red. How much time do I got? I mean, so here's the easiest thing, the easiest way to approach that. You're driving down the street, you see a green light. If it's been stale for a while, like it's green all the way up there, I'm usually expecting it to turn. So I'm looking at it like, is it going to turn? When that light turns yellow, I make every effort to stop. So light turns yellow, my foot goes right to the brake, and I immediately look to where I'm supposed to stop by. So I'm looking to the stop line or where the crosswalk is, and I start trying to slow down. If I realize I can't slow down by that spot, if I'm like not gonna make it, then I release the brake and go through the intersection. A couple things you never wanna do in that scenario. You never wanna speed up. So, because if you're already in a risky situation, you don't need it even more riskier or dangerous with speed. So if your light turns yellow and you hit the gas and go whoom, and here comes a car turning right, all of a sudden now you're doing over the speed limit, then you're going to get in that big collision, and then the whole accident's going to be your fault. Even though you had the green light, you'd be like, I made it. Well, it doesn't matter. You were speeding to get there, so your speeding made the accident your fault because you're already breaking a law. The other thing you don't want to do, besides, you definitely don't want to gun it. Try and stop. If you can't go stop, then you can go through it. The other thing you don't want to do is once you decide to go through, it does not matter at what that light color is anymore. So what I've seen that is just a terrible thing to do. You're driving, light turns yellow. Okay, I'm going to go through. And then you look to see if it turns red or not. Where should you be looking? Should you be looking up at that light? You're damn right. You should be looking straight forward, right? At the road in front of you. You don't want to be looking up like this to see if the light turns, and then somebody turns out in front of you and you get a big accident. Or a pedestrian starts crossing and then you smack them or something like that. So when you decide to go through that light, take your eyes off the light. Be involved with traffic. One of the new driver things that people end up doing is like, am I going to, don't look at that. Keep your eyes on the traffic. Don't speed up. Don't look at that light. Just go ahead and go through. Now, here's the way the law reads. The law reads that your car, when that light turns red, needs to be fully across the crosswalk or the stop line that you were supposed to stop in front of. So if like let's imagine that this little black thing is that stop line, right? I'm coming up to it. My light turns yellow. Now it turns red. And I've ran the red light because I was equal to that. But now here's that stop line right here, right? Light turns yellow. Light turns red. I'm still in the intersection, but I'm past that. That's okay. So if your car's still above that stop line or crosswalk when that light turns red, that's when you're going to get that ticket. Otherwise, it just means clear the intersection. But usually the best advice I can give you is when that light turns yellow, try and stop. Because if you don't stop, that can be the bad idea, the bad thing to do. And if you ever have to slam your brakes, look at your rear view first too. Yep, red light means stop. Yellow light means, the solid yellow means that it's expiring and the red light's gonna follow. And then when green, it means you can go, but really clear that intersection. Statistically, most accidents happen in intersections, so you really need to be observant when you go through them anyway. Standard light sequence is green, yellow, red, and then back to green again. There are different style of lights with different positions. If you guys aren't colorblind, you really don't have to worry about it because you can see the color of the lights no matter which side they're on. But if you're colorblind, you need to know the sequence of the lights that are there. Like if you can't see colors real well, yeah. Two. And both of them realized they were colorblind in class because there's varying stages of colorblind. It's not all just black and white like you think. It's some people like a green and red is the most common color to get confused. So a lot of times they don't know that those colors are different. So 2 people since I've been doing this have found out in class that they were colorblind because it is either next class or 8 where we talk about vision and perception and they go over that. And then the color blindness test comes up and you get a chance to see it. If I'm teaching that class, I usually say, if this test is telling you you're colorblind, don't believe it. To go talk to your doctor first because I don't want to. Now, what's a flashing red light supposed to do? They said it in the video. What do you do at a flashing red light? No, stop. It's like flashing red light's like a stop sign. Now, on the sides could be anything. You could stop and they could have flashing reds too. That'd be the 4-way stop. But they could have the flashing yellow there. What does flashing yellow mean? That means caution. Doesn't necessarily mean slow down, but it means caution. Like be cautious of your going through. Now arrows do the same thing. A red arrow, like they said, red arrow is don't turn. What's a solid yellow arrow mean? If you get up there and you see that solid yellow arrow, what's it mean? That's flashing yellow. What's solid mean? About to turn red. So if you hit, so it goes from solid green, solid yellow, solid red but yes, a flashing yellow, you're right, means you can turn, you just have to yield to oncoming traffic at that point. So flashing red informs drivers that you can turn left after coming to a complete stop. So flashing arrows work too, yeah. Where it's just like green. Yeah, in all of the, okay, so anytime you're going to turn left, you have to yield to oncoming traffic. The only time you don't is where they put up that green arrow. So just the lights that are green means that you can turn left when green, but you have to yield to oncoming traffic at that point. So the only time you're going to get a free left turn is when you have the green arrow. Otherwise, all the other times you're going to have to yield to oncoming traffic when you do a left-hand turn. And then when you're turning at intersections, you really have to watch out for the pedestrians because anytime you're going to turn, the way that you're going is the way that their walk is going to be. So when you're turning right or left based on the light configuration, you have to look at that to see if they're crossing. And then everybody's seen how these were. I'm running out of time. Rapid flash beacon can go off too. Those are usually in mid-street crosswalks. Now, if there's a crosswalk just going across the middle of the street, you don't need to stop at that unless there's somebody trying to walk through it. And if somebody's using a rapid flash beacon like that, that means the lights are flashing. Zaid, put Drawn on the screen. I'm going to have to change it to bring it. Zaid, you're not doing that. Now, if that light's going off, it doesn't mean that you can't drive through there. It just means that it means caution, a pedestrian is coming or has already went through. So sometimes they've already gone through. Road markings dictate a lot of ground viewing and what lines you need to go and what lane you need to be in too. Pavement markings, edge of the road is typically white. If you have traffic moving in opposite directions, the middle line is yellow. So, and any other road markings where the lines are going the same direction is going to be white. And that's for passing. They do have lanes that they can change directions on, which is really weird. One time I was going into Seattle to the Rams Seahawks game, and they had 3 lanes going in, all marked. And then when I turned around and went out, they had 3 lanes coming out. So they had more lanes going out. Now, there also is a shared turn lane that you have to use. Anytime this exists, it's made for left turns only. You have to smog move into it and then turn left using that lane. And they're going to mark it just like that, and that's the way that it goes. All right, sorry I'm running out of time. We only missed, we didn't miss anything. Mid-street crosswalks, I already said that. Yield lines at roundabouts, they're there also. Okay, all right, we're at 8 o'clock, so it's time to bail. And look through if there's anything else I need to tell you, because I tend to ramble on a little bit. I would stay right there if you want your book signed and you want attendance for this class. Okay, Zoom, I'm gonna run the final poll. If you don't see it, I need to know. And then once you're done, you can bail. If you have a question or something, just be here, answer me the question. You can send me a direct message too. Hopefully everybody has their permit and signing up for a drive. Thank you, Bailey. All right, there's the final poll. If you don't see it, let me know. I'll be back in a minute. I got to sign everybody's books in here. So have a question for me or anything, I'll be right back. Yeah, it's kind of the same way.